Reacher Season 3's Roscoe replacement is different in one big way, but I'm still not convinced. While Reacher Season 3 highlights a major difference between Susan Duffy and Season 1's Roscoe Conklin, questions remain over the Prime Video show's latest romance angle. As Alan Ritchson's Jack Reacher continues his third attempt to bust a criminal enterprise in as many seasons, so too does he move on to his third love interest. Reacher Season 1 ended with the title character semi-reluctantly leaving Willa Fitzgerald's Roscoe behind in Margrave. In Reacher Season 2's finale, he wrapped up a cathartic final fling with Dixon. In Season 3, it's the DE as Susan Duffy who gets pulled into Reacher's vortex of charm. The concept of finding a new woman in each town derives from Lee Child's Jack Reacher books, but something about his bond with Roscoe felt special. Part of that comes down to being the very first love interest of Prime Video's Reacher series, but Willa Fitzgerald's performance and effortless chemistry with Ritchson also helped win over the audience. Reacher Season 1's ending softly suggested that if the wandering hero settled down for anyone, it would be Roscoe, and I still harbor hopes of a reunion somewhere down the line. That is, of course, after Reacher and Duffy have fizzled out. Duffy's reaction to kissing Reacher proves she's different to Roscoe and Dixon. Reacher's first attempt to replace Roscoe and Dixon in Season 2 worked because the two women were inherently different. Unlike Reacher and Roscoe, Reacher and Dixon shared a degree of romantic history that Season 2 allowed them to re-examine. The familiarity of their attraction and the motivation behind it couldn't have been further from Season 1's romance storyline with Roscoe. In Reacher Season 3, however, Duffy and Roscoe share a lot more in common. Sonia Cassidy's character is another law enforcer working with Reacher on a case for the first time, making it harder to separate her and Roscoe. Duffy hopes to avoid romantic entanglements with her giant new friend in order to focus on the job at hand. Reacher Season 3, Episode 6, however, reveals a major dividing line between the two characters, and it comes during Reacher and Duffy's first real romantic interaction. Unable to hold back after 5 episodes of increasing sexual tension, Duffy quite literally launches herself at Reacher's mouth during a conversation in Smoke on the Water. Curiously, she then leaps back in a mixture of horror and disgust, exclaiming, "What the sh*t?" That is not happening twice. Duffy, on the other hand, is desperately attempting to maintain a line of professionalism. She hopes to avoid romantic entanglements with her giant new friend in order to focus on the job at hand. And even if she does end up giving into temptation, there is no suggestion that Reacher and Duffy will evolve into anything more than a satisfying hookup. Reacher may be at the precipice of starting another romance, but Season 3, Episode 6, weirdly proves hopes for a Reacher and Roscoe endgame are still very much alive. Reacher and Duffy's kiss, as well as her reaction to it, reveal a clear attraction between Alan Ritchson and Sonia Cassidy's characters. It also strongly suggests that the pair will be taking their passion further before Reacher Season 3 comes to an end. Roscoe remains the only one of Reacher's romantic partners who could still potentially become a long-term girlfriend. The scene also, however, confirms that this is purely lust, not love. Based on Duffy's reaction, it seems like she and Reacher will blow off some steam after a season of chasing down bad guys, then happily go their separate ways with no questions asked, unlike with Roscoe in Season 1, where awkward questions were certainly asked. When Reacher stormed onto Prime Video in 2022, fans of Lee Child's hulking hero were finally given the gritty, no-nonsense adaptation they'd craved. Alan Ritchson's portrayal brought the perfect blend of intimidation and integrity. But just as crucial to that first season's success was Willa Fitzgerald's Roscoe Conklin, the Margrave cop who offered not only assistance, but a rare emotional anchor for Reacher. Roscoe wasn't just a love interest. She was a mirror. A reminder that even a man built like a tank needs connection. Her blend of steel and softness gave us a reason to hope that maybe, just maybe, Reacher could have a life that wasn't entirely shaped by violence and solitude. So, when she didn't return for Season 2, fans were understandably skeptical. And now, with Season 3 on the horizon, adapting Persuader, a darker and more personal story, we're getting a new female lead, Carla Dixon. Yes, Dixon is different in one big way, and it's not just that she was a former Army colleague of Reacher's. It's that she's a peer. That changes everything. Unlike Roscoe, Dixon doesn't look at Reacher from the outside. She served with him. She understands the unspoken rules of his world, the danger, the calculation, the trauma. Their relationship isn't born out of sudden circumstance but deep history. In the books, particularly in Persuader, Dixon is part of an undercover mission gone nuclear. She's competent, smart, and most importantly, already familiar with Reacher's moral gray zones. That familiarity brings a refreshing dynamic shift. Roscoe is always a little in awe of Reacher. She was discovering who he was just as we were. But Dixon? Dixon already knows the beast. There's no need to catch up, no need to play therapist or damsel. She can walk beside him, not behind him. That's the big difference. And yet, I'm still not convinced. Because competence isn't chemistry. Willa Fitzgerald and Alan Ritchson had something rare in Season 1. That simmering tension, the playful mutual respect, the unspoken grief they both carried, it all made their scenes spark. With Dixon, it's a different type of connection. War-forged, yes, but emotionally richer? I'm not so sure. Reacher works best when he's slightly off balance, when someone gets under his skin in a way he can't quite process. That's what Roscoe did. She wasn't tactical backup. She was emotional dissonance. There's also the issue of timing. Season 3 comes off the adrenaline rush of Season 2, an action-packed, testosterone-fueled adaptation of Bad Luck and Trouble. It was a season that doubled down on Reacher's military past, leaning into the brotherhood of the 110th. Bringing Dixon back from that squad feels like a logical step. But logic isn't everything. If it were, Reacher wouldn't keep abandoning stability for the open road. In the books, Reacher never truly settles. He walks away from Dixon too. That's his nature, a man constantly rejecting the comfort others offer him. So even if Dixon's presence makes tactical sense for the mission, it feels like we're retreating from the vulnerability Roscoe brought out in him. Perhaps the real challenge isn't Dixon herself, it's what she represents. Reacher's return to a world where emotion is a liability. She may be the better fit on paper, but that's exactly what makes her less compelling on screen. Fans don't just want to see Reacher crack skulls. We want to see what cracks him. To be clear, I'm rooting for Dixon. The series needs a strong female presence, and if the writing leans into her complexities rather than just her credentials, she could absolutely shine. But Fitzgerald's Roscoe brought something irreplaceable, a sense of what Reacher could be if he ever allowed himself to stop running. And maybe that's the point. Every season of Reacher shows us why he never does. Dixon is the right partner for this mission. But Roscoe? She was the right partner for the man. And until the show bridges that gap between Reacher the soldier and Reacher the human, I'll be watching with one eye on the mission and the other on the empty seat beside him. Would you like a headline image suggestion or quote box to go with this? Perhaps the real challenge isn't Dixon herself, it's what she represents. Reacher's return to a world where emotion is a liability. She may be the better fit on paper, but that's exactly what makes her less compelling on screen. Fans don't just want to see Reacher crack skulls. We want to see what cracks him. To be clear, I'm rooting for Dixon. The series needs a strong female presence, and if the writing leans into her complexities rather than just her